I've seen it happen to me that all too late found out that I wasn't aware of what I should be aware of. And then when it's too late and too much water has gone under the bridge, it's too late.
Yeah.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning into Second Act TV. Today we return to love and relationships after 50, and I'm happy to welcome Daryl Gurney back to our program. Daryl, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Silken.
Well, as most of you know by now, and we'll link to our older segments, Daryl is a love, relationship, career coach also. You cover a lot of topics for us, but in particular of late, we've had lots of questions and done lots of programming on divorce after 50. Lots of comments from men that just don't understand why so many women, the rates are 70 to 80% of women file for divorce. And as I talk to more and more experts, it all comes down to communication. And today, I wanted to talk with you because, one, you're a man. We've been talking to a lot of women who've shared their opinion about, why we file for divorce. But when it comes to communication, the biggest, complaint is that men don't listen. So let's talk about that, Daryl. Why don't men listen?
Well, first off, I'm just going to say I wish I could speak for all men, but I'll just be speaking from my experience, and ideally that'll offer something. Here's the thing. I had my, I'm in my mid 50s now, and I went through a divorce 20 something years ago. I got remarried a year ago. But what I saw in my own experience and what I've seen as I've observed the experiences of other men is that, you get blindsided only because you weren't listening all along the way. And look, I'm not going to say all men don't listen, okay? I will say, though, that I think in the way that we're raised, or at least our generation. I think it's a very different generation now.
Very good point.
But the way we were raised, it's kind of like, I just remember high school, and you have the jocks and the guys who are the aggressive types, and the, guys are, born and kind of taught to go out there and kill the bear. And a lot of our generation, and I'm not saying this was right or whatever, a lot of our generation, women were more the cheerleaders, and it's kind of like they were the supporters, of the men. And anyhow, society has guys kind of out there to kill it, and women tend to be more relationship based and, can even be more accommodating. The only problem with that is that as you get into marriages and things like that, is that here's what I've seen. I've seen women have their revolutions later in life because they were so accommodating and they were so holding themselves back from saying what was there for them. And the guys are just not, in general, built to be as relational. They're out there, let's go out, let's kill the bear, let's be successful. So they're not thinking, hey, what's going on with my woman? How's she feeling? So I guess what I would say is I've seen it happen to me that all too late found out that I wasn't aware of what I should be aware of, the way a woman's emotions work, the way her feelings basis works. And then when it's too late and too much water has gone under the bridge, it's too late.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point, is that, one, it is our generation, I think. I think that that's reflective in the divorce rate, where the divorce rate has actually gone down overall, but in our age group, it's just still, it's skyrocketing. And to where maybe the younger men now coming up, they are more in touch perhaps with feelings and emotions and the equality between men and women. But that doesn't solve the issue that we have, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's not even that there's a solution or that it'll change, but I think for me it's important that we get the awareness of that out there. Because we're asked, I mean, I've gotten so many comments on why do women, what, I'm blindsided. Well, no, you're not. You weren't listening. You weren't listening to what's going on. And women, we don't communicate. We get it. It's like you said, it's bottled up. We're afraid to say anything because of the consequences that may be associated with that. And next thing you know, it's just we're done.
Yeah, and you know what? I wish I could say that, oh, there's a way to have it be perfect and people won't have divorces, right? To be honest with you, I look at my first marriage as my practice marriage.
Right.
Because we did grow up in the generation we grew up in. If I knew now what I knew about, or what I know now about women, about relationships, I mean, I put myself in a course of study kind of after that relationship ended. And my point being is that we can't fix it, that it won't happen. But I think the question is if a woman hasn't gotten to her revolution time yet, but it's boiling up, and if a man is wise enough, and I don't, you have a lot of men listening, to your, is this may be the time to try to do something different. Quit trying to say it shouldn't be that way, and a woman shouldn't feel that way, and she shouldn't think that way. There's this whole Mars and Venus thing, right?
Yes.
And actually take it on as an experiment to start tapping in and seeing what that world is like over there. I think a lot of women, and I work as a coach with a lot of women that's why I've seen this revolution happen in so many ways. One of the biggest things that I see happen as women get into their 40s, 50s is their voice. They want their voice to be heard, right? And sometimes it's not about fixing whatever is there for them necessarily, but them being heard.
Validating.
Yeah, it's validating for a woman that she feels heard.
Right.
As a matter of fact, sometimes whatever her issues are might even dissolve when they're being heard.
Exactly.
Us as guys, though, we have this tendency, let me go fix it. Yeah. And there may be things to fix, but you have heard as much as I have, Silka, that for the most part, and this may be a gross generalization, but for the most part, it's women who start to feel like a relationship is going onto the rocks and they want to go to counseling or they want to do something to try to get the communication going.
They want to talk about it.
And the guys don't.
Right.
Look, we could say they're bad. Just guys in general aren't geared towards the feelings. But like you just said, because of the new generations, see, where I grew up in Southeast Texas, when you dated, you went out with a girl. I'm a guy, you're a girl. My son growing up here in California, they all went out together. They had 5, 6, 7 girls, guys. So there is, I think, a very different relationship that guys have with gals now. But we grew up different.
Yeah.
And so, I think one of the keys is at our age, especially if we want to either avoid being blindsided or we want to try something new after 50 in terms of attracting a woman into our life, is practice this listening thing.
Yeah, that's it. Great. I mean, I was just going to say, we're coming already to the end of our segment here. We have about 2 minutes left. But, how would you tie all this up? And that is, I think you just did. It's, if you want to either save your marriage, save your relationship, or start a new, a good new one where this doesn't happen, be aware of that. No, is it going to be perfect? No. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with you. Just be aware that is what it comes down to, is listening. But I'm going to let you close it out.
Well, yeah, and look, I didn't learn it except through bags of bricks hitting me on the side of the head.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things over the last 20 years or so, and, you had the men's movement coming about in the 90s and, men getting more in touch with their feelings and things like that. Is just that some men have taken on that there's a new sheriff in town, in the sense that, it's not the way it was when our dads and our moms had their relationships,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and happy wife, happy life.
Well, and on that note, let's close the segment out. We will come back, talk more specifics as to what we can do, how we can implement some better listening skills. If you're interested in that, this is just, if you've asked, we're answering, and we hope that we're offering some good advice. So see you on our next segment. Thanks for watching.